So the GEPF is set to implement the two-part system from the 1st of September 2024. And the big question is, are you going to lose money once it becomes effective? Now, there are so many rumors swirling around GEPF and the two-part system, creating a cloud of uncertainty. And here's a concern you might not have even considered. Even if you're disciplined and choose not to access your funds, you're still sitting in a pool with other members. What happens if they start withdrawing from the pool? But what if I told you there's a simple way to determine if you're going to lose money in the two-part system, and if so, exactly how much? This technique will only take you a few seconds to implement. However, you need to follow certain steps before the two-part system takes effect. And I'll guide you through these steps in the video. Now, by the way, my name is Devon and I'm a retire versus resign specialist. My dad lost a fortune when he retired from GEPF, and this inspired me to create resources to help other GEPF members avoid making the same costly mistakes. Now, my YouTube channel is home to over 200 free videos, all designed to empower GEPF members like yourself make informed decisions about your finances. This video in particular might be one of the most beneficial ones yet. Let's dive in to see why, and stay tuned to the end because I'm going to share with you a secret that's going to completely blow your mind away. Let's first understand the two-part system in general, and then I'm going to show you how this relates to the GEPF itself. I'm heading over to the iPad to give you some type of clarity here, and we'll do a before and after inside of this so that it makes sense to you. So this is a system that we'll use before two-part gets implemented, and here's your pool of money that's sitting within GEPF. We'll call this your resignation benefit, whatever the value is. Again, in my example, I'll use a round figure of 6 million. Which means prior to the two-part system, that's the pool of money that becomes available for you should you resign or wanting to withdraw. Even if you are aiming at retiring, you know that there's a pool that's sitting within there. What's changing after two-part system? So let's list this as after. Is you still will have pools of money, or pots as it's called, except it's going to be 3 pots of money that's split in the following way. Now, again, I'll share with you a secret shortly about GEPF being a defined benefit fund, but just bear with me as you get this initial understanding because it's going to help put everything into perspective in a short while. So there's a pool of money that would then flow into your retirement benefit. Then you have a pool of money that flows into what's called savings benefit. This starts off with 30,000 that heads inside this benefit. And then you have what's called a vested pot, which is funds that sits here, heading into the vested pot. Now, if this was a retirement annuity, the process is very simple because the money just flows into the 3 pots, right? So after the two-part system gets implemented, the money is flowing into those 3 pots. It's easy. Now, here's a secret I want to share with you. See, if it is a retirement annuity, or let's call it an ordinary pension fund, then your money is sort of exposed to the markets. So you have this type of effect that's taking place. This is the traditional approach. When it comes to GEPF, however, GEPF is what is called a defined benefit fund, a defined benefit fund. And all this means is everything is calculated based on a set of formulas. That's it. It's a series of formulas, which means underneath this, yes, GEPF is investing your money behind the scenes. That's sort of what's taking place. But the values that you are seeing, whether it's your retirement benefits, whether it's the gratuity lump sum, even if it's your resignation benefits, everything is calculated by way of a formula. Now, why is this important? Because inside of this system, let's say a non-GEPF system or a non-defined benefit system, it's all according to the markets. The pools are very easy, very straightforward to move into. Whereas when it comes to GEPF, everything's worked according to a formula, which means for GEPF to implement two-part system, they would have to put a formula in place. And here's the concern that you might have. Your resignation value prior to the two-part system, and again, I'm using resignation doesn't mean you're going to resign. It's just to give you an understanding of it. But your value prior to the two-part system being implemented, what if once it is implemented, when you add up the pools, it doesn't equal the 6 million that I'm using now in my example? What if it's 5.5 million or a lower figure? Now, this is the concerning thing, or the concerning element that most members have. In addition to this, you're sitting now inside a pool where other members might want to access it. If it's your private retirement annuity, you are in full control. So after two-part system, if you don't need your savings benefit, you don't have to access it. Whereas when you're within GEPF, it's one pool that's common amongst all the members within GEPF. So whilst you might be disciplined and not touch your money, other members might want to access the savings. And if a big quantity of people withdraws from the fund, this again could put pressure onto the GEPF. Now, what's the secret I want to share with you? How would you go about doing a calculation? Well, this is where you can use the formula to your advantage. So pay careful attention, because again, once you understand this, you'll learn how to run a calculation, and then you'll be able to see exactly what happens post two-pot if you've lost any money, or if you haven't lost, or if you've actually gained any funds. So here's the setup. Because it's a defined benefit fund and a formula, it means you can make a request to GEPF for values in the future. So whatever the date is now, let's mark it as X. And I'm going to say that this is before two-pot, because it's critically important for you to do this exercise before two-pot. It takes effect. So before the 1st of September. If you do it after the 1st of September, you lost your opportunity, because the formula is not going to, would have been changed by that time. So this is where we are right now. And the formula change is happening here, which is 1 September. Now I'm going to use a date here, but you can use any date after the September date. So in my example, I'm going to use, let's call it 31st of December. So 31 December, 2024. So here's what you need to do. At this point in time, you can reach out to GEPF and say to them that you want to get a statement as at the 31st of December, 2024. So you want a statement as of the 31st of December, 2024. And the reason is you want to make a note of your resignation benefit. Now, why am I using the resignation value here? Just very quickly, and there are other videos where I go into this in greater detail. The resignation value is sort of a current estimated value. Your retirement value is a projected value. So if you have to look at your GEPF statement, you'll be able to notice that your retirement benefit is not current. It's calculated to the future. I'll bring up a test statement here so that you can have some clarity on it. But again, the main element inside of this video is not that, it's just to help you to understand how to get the formula done. But if you're feeling uncertain, then this test statement is going to help us to get clarity on it. So let me bring this up for you. Okay, you should see it up now. So inside here, now this is a bit of an older statement, but it's my test statement because I've blocked out the figures for this particular member. But you want to get to this section, and if you look here, point number 9, you'll see that it's referring to this note here. And what GEPF is saying under this point, and again, your point might be different. It might be 10 or 11 on your statement. It says normal retirement age is as at 60, and these benefit calculations are estimated and assume that you'll retire at 60. So if you are not yet 60, your retirement figures are not because it's calculated to the future. It's calculated to 60. Let's say you're 58, then these figures are not now, they're 2 years down the line. Now, what happens if you pass 60? It goes on to say, if you are older than 60, then your benefits are estimated up to age 65. So let's assume you're 63. It's still not accurate figures here in terms of your retirement benefits because it's calculated to the future. See, it's always calculated as a future value. Whereas your resignation value is relatively accurate as at the month on your statement, meaning let's assume this is the value. Even though it says estimated, it's estimated for the month that this member had pulled out the statement. So in this example, 5.1 million, it's a figure that you can sort of work with. And let's head back onto the iPad so that I can continue giving you the clarity. Your retirement figures, as I mentioned, that is a future value. And difficult for you to compare, right? Because it's already formula-based and way too much into the future. The resignation value, it's relatively accurate, right? It's sort of like a current value of what your benefits are. So when you're running this calculation, you want to focus with the resignation value because that's where you'll start to see a change. In fact, even if you had to request a statement now at the end of this month, and you have a look at your resignation value and you request a statement at the end of next month, the resignation value would have increased because your resignation value has a formula that takes into account your years of service. So each month that you are there, the resignation value is going to increase, as well as your salary. So as your salary increases, so too does the resignation value, barring, of course, GEPF changing the formula. So what's the secret here? When you get a statement now, as at the end of December, you can make a note of exactly what the resignation value is. Then once the two-part system takes effect, So this is post-September. Now you want to request a statement here, somewhere inside here. I'll call it Y. And again, you're going to request a statement as at 31 December 2024. So in essence, you will have two statements from GEPF, one before the two-part system takes effect, and that would be as at December 2024. Then you'd have a second statement after two-part system takes effect as at December 2024. And then you're simply going to compare the statements, right? You're going to have a look at what your resignation value is post the two-part system, and you'll have a look at your resignation value prior to the two-part system, compare the difference to see again if you've lost any money, and then post a comment in the chat below. If it is a yes, if you've lost money, just say you've lost some money. If you've had some bit of growth, you can post a comment below if you've had some growth, or if it's neutral, again, you can post a comment below. Remember, this particular video is only going to be of value for you if you are running this calculation prior to the two-part system. Now, what happens if you've lost some money? Unfortunately, this video is not there to guide you on that, because the purpose of the video is just to give you education in terms of how much or what the impact is on the two-part system, right? If you're worried about losing money in the two-part system, then you'd have to make sure that you have proper planning done before the 1st of September, before it implements, so you can take that decision of whether you're leaving or not. But this video is assuming that you're staying on. And again, that helps you then to compare to see what exactly transpired with the values. Have you lost anything, or have the value stayed the same? I hope the video has been helpful for you. Post a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. What about this formula change? Can you see now how you can use it to your benefit so that you can adjust it, right? Is this a nice plus for you? If it is a plus, comment below and tell me plus so I know that the video has been helpful. And I shall catch you on the next video.